This video contains or may contain spoilers for Hollow Knight. Hollow Knight has multiple developer notes found in the game's files. These notes were used by Team Cherry to clarify certain things for themselves while they were making the game, but they can also clarify those things for us, the fans. I'll be going over the developer notes that I think are the most significant and informative. One note reads, "The Hollow Knights have no gender." I explored this one in my previous video about the knight's gender. In this instance, the Hollow Knights may mean the knight and the Hollow Knight, or all of the vessels. Team Cherry may have used that term because they hadn't decided what to call the vessels as a species yet, or because they knew that the Knight and the Hollow Knight specifically would be central figures in the story. It is worth noting that the vessels are genderless, and it makes sense given their nature. Referring to any vessel with gendered pronouns is inaccurate to the characters. They and it are more accurate, and the game's characters do use these to refer to any vessels. Another note questions whether Lurian is more detached than the other dreamers. This makes sense to me, as I've noticed that Lurian is the only one of the three dreamers who doesn't have a character connected with him that the knight encounters multiple times throughout their journey. Hera has Hornet, and Monomon has Quirrell, but Lurian doesn't have anyone. He was particularly devoted to the Pale King, but the king isn't encountered during the knight's journey, at least not alive or outside of a memory. A particularly informative note gives some insight into the Radiance and the Moth tribe's changing attitude towards her. It says that the Pale King convinced the Moths to turn away from the Radiance rather than them choosing to do so on their own, and that he did this because he wanted to intentionally seal the Radiance away to assert his influence. However, he may not have convinced them purposely, and it was just an effect of his power over bugs' minds. Possibly the most important line here is, "The Moths sealed the Radiance away by forgetting about her." That piece of information reveals how the Radiance was unable to influence bugs for so long after the Pale King arrived, because without as many bugs thinking about her, she was shut away deep within the dream realm. I'm pretty sure this is also the only time the Radiance is explicitly referred to as female in the English language version of the game. Multiple notes state that any mention of specific days or the word today should not be included. One in particular says, "It's one long night." I can understand wanting to reinforce the feeling of a world in stasis, but one long night is just confusing. If it is true that Dirtmouth, the Howling Cliffs, and Hallownest's crown are on the surface, and that what we're seeing is the sky above, it appears to be that of night. Perhaps for the citizens of Hallownest, since most of the kingdom is underground, they wouldn't keep track of whether or not the sun is out on the surface to determine which day it was. Or these supposed above-ground areas may not actually be on the surface at all. If what we see above is the sky, it stays dark for the entirety of the game, even if you play for more than 24 hours on a save file. That seems to imply that Hallownest is either in a world with perpetual night, like a planet that has no star or is tidally locked with one side always being night, or that Hallownest is in the Arctic or Antarctic region of its world close to the poles where part of the year is always dark, and that is when the game is taking place. Either way, that makes it no wonder that the Radiance and her sun-like warmth and light were so attractive to certain bugs. The last note I'll mention is one that reveals a cut description for the Vengeful Spirit spell, which reads, "A desire for revenge is seared into the soul of those who fell in battle or were wronged in life. A shaman can concentrate this desire and cast it out into the world to burn away whatever stands before them." They really had no reason to cut this. It seems to describe the lore of that spell pretty accurately. The nature of spells seems to have a lot to do with the particular soul that it's made of, the one who made it, or both. Soul is not only found in the bodies of living creatures, but also in the air. Since the snail shaman is in the ancestral mound, he is surrounded by the remains of many dead bugs whose soul probably went out into the air once they were interred, and he was probably able to find some particular soul that had this desire for revenge embedded in it in order to create the vengeful spirit spell to work like he wanted it to. So what do you think? Which developer note that I discussed do you think is the most interesting? Are there any others that you would have wanted to see in this video? Let me know in the comments. Thank you for watching this video. Please be sure to give it a like, share it, check out my other Hollow Knight videos, and subscribe for more to come. I hope you're having a great day, and I'll see you next time.